Welcome to another episode of Pages and Potions podcast, where we dive deep into delicious drinks and give you our hot takes, craziest theories, and fun reviews of some of our favorite books. We are your hosts, Devin and Courtney, and thank you so much for joining us during what we hope is your happy hour and escape from the 9 to 5. Before we dive in, we thought it was very important to remind you that this is a not safe for work podcast. We talk about explicit books using explicit language, so if that's not your cup of tea or you have littles around you right now, this might not be for you. This is also your one warning that this podcast will contain spoilers. So if that's not for you either, now is your chance to bail and catch us once you've read the book. Okay? If you're still here, let's get into it. For this week's episode, we're talking about Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa. It's a little bit of dark romance, maybe. We'll get to it. Anyways, before we do that, let's talk about our drink. Tonight, our indulgent takes after our female main character, Callie, and we're going to call it the Callie Special. She kind of starts off like a little bit of an alcoholic and then is forced into sobriety. So we've decided for this drink, we're going to shoot an ounce of our favorite shooting whiskey, and then we're going to chase it with a little bit of a mocktail drink after. So in the mocktail, we've got half a cup of cranberry juice, a good squirt of lime juice, and a small can of spicy ginger beer. And I currently have a shot of, I had Southern Comfort because I was like, at least maybe that might not be terrible. This is, if you can't see my shot glass, ladies and gentlemen, it is literally the female form. I'm drinking out of a lady who has what looks like a BBL and maybe a titty lift. It's a beautiful shot glass. I hope you can see this.
It really is. Yeah, mine says, I don't even know what whiskey I have in my cupboard. How bad is that? But I am drinking out of a shot glass that says, I don't know if you can see it, Lee's.
I can't. I love it, though. We're here for it. Okay, so essentially, what we're going to do is, because she's basically just drinks Jim Beam straight out of the bottle, which sadly I don't have Jim Beam, but this will have to do. We're going to shoot the whiskey, and then we're going to immediately take a sip of our mocktail concoction after. Are you ready for this? Let's do it anyways. Cheers!
Cheers! Oh, God.
The chaser's, that's nice with the chaser.
Well, it is nice with the chaser. I bet you that
like
shot right burn in there would be good.
It would be, yeah. If you're feeling a little bit less like you want to be punched in the mouth and just like you want to sip this, just pour that whiskey right in there.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually quite enjoyable. Okay, so now that we're lubricated, let's get into this book. This book.
I've got to tell you, though, I didn't put ginger beer in. I put ginger ale in because I am not a huge fan of ginger beer. And it's also, it's very good. Yeah.
You're allowed to be wrong. It's fine.
That's okay. You're wrong about your book boyfriends. We're even.
I know. We still love each other. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Courtney, I'm going to need you to walk me through your synopsis of this book because we have a lot to talk about.
We have so much to talk about with this book. So every good book starts off with deep trauma. Yeah. So when we first meet our FMC Callie, she's just killed her stepfather. And I mean, rightfully so. He sounds like he belonged on Epstein Island with the other pedos. When she realizes what she's done, she calls on an entity called the Bargainer to make it all go away. He is a suave and dark character that helps people in return for sinister favors. He ends up giving her a freebie, helps enroll her in a magical school, and 7 years later, when we meet her, she's now engaged to an alpha werewolf who is kind of obsessed with her, but she's not really that into him. So Callie, those few years later, 7-8 years later, the story takes place when she's all grown up. We learn that she's a siren, meaning that she can bend people to her will, which works really well in her job as a bounty hunter. We learn that over her years at school, she kept calling on the Bargainer for favors, and he kept granting them, and has yet to collect. They developed a friendship, but something happened that caused him to leave about 7 years ago, and he never came back. She's pissy about it, and he's just enough of a dick to waltz back into her life like nothing happened. The bargainer, who we learn is named Desmond or Des, has come to collect his favors, all 300 and something of them. This leads Callie to believe she will be doing some heinous shit. So she breaks up with her werewolf boyfriend. He is not cool with it, to the point that he completely wrecks her house. Anyway, Callie and Des do fall back into their old patterns of friendship, and the author shows us flashbacks, so we get a really good sense of how close they actually were before Des left for 7 years. As Des calls in his favors, we learn that some pretty weird shit is happening where he is from. He needs Callie to help him unravel the mystery of what the fuck is going on. So now Des is actually Fae. He's the king of night and rules over the Night Kingdom, in the land of the Fae, but weird shit is happening there. We learn that women, mostly warriors, are being taken by someone called the Thief of Souls, drugged into a catatonic-like state, impregnated, and then sent back to their kingdoms in glass coffins, not alive, but also not dead. And then they birth vampire babies. Are you still with me? Because this is really weird. The vampire babies can talk. And when Des...
Sorry.
And when Des... Okay, so the vampire babies can talk. And so when Des takes Callie to see what's going on, they talk to her. And turns out this soul thief guy is like super interested in her. So she ends up getting kidnapped by this guy, locked up in a cell. When she's dragged to meet him, we learn that he subdues his prey by breathing into them, but it somehow doesn't work on Callie. She just pukes up all of his breath. Anyway, so of course Des is in love with Callie. Like this is a romance novel, right? And so he comes to rescue her. In the ensuing fight, the bad guy is unceremoniously killed, very dead, and they escape, but not before he makes a few changes to Callie's appearance. She grows some scales and claws and wings, and isn't really quite sure how to take that all in. I mean, I wouldn't either if I ended up with scales and claws and wings. Anyway. The women that were being held in cells but aren't in coffins yet seem to recover okay, but those in coffins didn't wake up. So something isn't quite adding up, and we learn that we didn't actually get the big bad in this book. So it sets up the second book really well. The romance story in this book is interesting because it's like a main plot point without being a main plot point. Like you need the tension of the last 7 years to get the big love declaration. It makes it sweeter when they do actually, but it's almost like a parallel storyline. Like it's very touch her and die with the side of fated mates and enemies to friends to lovers. But it ends up with a heavily ever after for a couple with a few untied ends that I'm sure lead nicely into the next book. I haven't read it. So Devin, we've got to talk about this book. Both of us said we got a little bit of the ick. Tell me what your ick is.
Okay, there's a couple things. But mostly, I really forget. I think maybe I blacked out or blocked it out the first time I read it, but I really forgot. So when Callie gets taken, she actually gets taken by another king of the Fae world. So they're in the other world is what it's called. And there's 4 different Fae kingdoms. And she gets taken by the one from Fauna. He has antlers. He basically rules over animals and Fae who have animal-like features, hence why he's able to change her appearance. And he's described as the Mad King because it kind of sounds like he's got multiple personality disorder going on because he's between,
Coco Bananas.
He goes in between being absolutely insane and full of rage and is just vengeful to then cooing after her and is in love with her and essentially wants to impregnate her, which is a whole other clusterfuck of ugh. These women are essentially getting raped, getting essayed repeatedly and impregnated, and it's I don't think I recall reading this the first time and being this is such a good book. I think I was just I had said this to you before we started recording a little bit, but I'd said, when I had absorbed this as content a long time ago, I was, so new into romantasy and was just, kind of taking in anything and everything that I could.
You're
but now that I've
vibing.
absorbed, yeah, like you're just like trying to see what you like and like what style of romance or what style of writing that you like. But now that I've kind of absorbed so much other content, going back and reading it, there's like definitely moments of this where I'm like, oh my God, why was I okay with that? And that is one of them where it's like these women are just taken against their will and like forced to basically bear babies for this half animal,
vampire
half
babies.
Fairy. It's fucked. It's so fucked.
Vampire babies that can talk.
And that bite. I don't think they actually feed on,
yeah.
like, milk. They feed on blood. Like, it's literally, they are vampire babies. Like, they have wet nurses that are humans in the other world, because humans in the other world are considered, like, slaves, basically. But there's the humans that live in the Night Kingdom have free will, so they're not slaves. But these women are wet nurses for these vampire babies, and they go and talk to them. And they're just, like, covered in bite marks and bruises. And I'm like, this is so fucked. This is so fucked up.
This is so fucked. I mean, anyone that has ever breastfed a baby knows that there's a fair bit of biting that goes on once the children get teeth. But, like, it sounds like it was, like, all, like, above.
Like the meat, the fleshy
like
part
all
of the
over.
breast. Yeah, not the nips. Just the fleshy part of the tits.
Yeah.
Not the nips. But that would still fucking hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, seriously. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
okay.
like,
So my
ick.
you
tell me about it. Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't clock this the first time. But the first time Callie and Des meet, she's 16. Mm-hmm. And so he
turning 16.
15. Yeah. So like right at the beginning there's not a lot of like stuff that goes on between them, and there isn't anything that really goes on between them, but she's in high school. Like when they're doing this like hanging out together and going to the prom and like all of this stuff, she's in high school. Mm-hmm. And I could not get over that this time. Like, I don't think I clocked it the first time, but then I was like, wait a second, how old is this chick? Like, is this like hundreds of year old fae guy? Like, even if they are fated mates, essentially, soulmates, they call them in this book. Like, even if they are, she's still too young. Like, that, I could not get past that this time at all.
That's such an interesting take because... And I'm just going to say this to be devil's advocate, but, like, if you look at ACOTAR, Feyre's only 19. Like, she is not a grown woman.
She's 19, but 19 is an adult.
By, like, legal matters,
default.
Sure, but maybe not mentally. Like, by default, sure, but, like, she might not. Like, she was so naive also. Like, are we easily willing to forgive Rhysand for, like, basically going after Feyre at 19? Like, I'm sorry. I know. I had to do that. I know.
I hate you so much right now. I need another shot of whiskey.
I know. All right. I mean, to be fair to the writing, like, nothing happens until she's, like, 18 years old. So, like, they develop, like, he basically... He takes her on these basically trips where he has to go and grant bargains and do these things, like basically evil deeds. So she's witnessed all of this, hence why she collects these stones that are favors, essentially. So like she's not super naive. I mean, God, we meet her when she murders her stepdad. Like she's obviously not a child, and it is stated in the book that the legal age is 16 of magic because she's a supernatural. By legal terms, technicality, she's an adult because that's how they classify it. So it's still doesn't make it okay, but it's how they get through that kind of gray area. It's still like, because nothing really happens, I think.
Still a little bit.
I mean, she has a crush, but he never acts on it, which I respect a lot. And I love that Laura Thalassa kind of still had that bit of a boundary. You've never read the other books, so are you okay with me talking about the other books?
Yeah,
because I can tell you. So he finds out that they're mates when he's like a boy, when he's like a teenager. So he actually, I believe there's a connection with his mom, and his mom either like I can't recall if it's like there's a photo or like she's a seer or maybe he sees an oracle or there's some kind of story plot. I didn't reread the other books ahead of this. I only reread the first one because that's what we're talking about. But he essentially discovers who his mate is like centuries ago. And like knows. So when he meets her, he is resisted, like he knows where she is, he knows she exists, everything. So when she calls on him, he actually has a moment of like, do I go? And then when he does go, he sees the state that she's in and is like, oh fuck. Yeah. And then helps her. And that's largely why he can't stay away every time she calls for a favor, is because every time she calls, there's a part of him that's like, but that's my mate. So that's where that's at. So he already knows that. And I think that's also kind of why he doesn't want to influence that. He just wants it to be, because for so long he had decided maybe that wasn't for him. So you do learn a lot about that in the other books as you carry on through the series. So I don't know if that helps kind of wrap your brain around that a little bit more. If that's less icky, I don't know.
No, not even a little. And I don't know if it's because, you know, like stuff in the news right now and all of that, we're like extra sensitive to that kind of stuff. But yeah, like, and then like I said, I didn't clock it the first time I read it, but this second time it was like this constant nagging in the back of my head. And I like the book. Like I like the story. I like I like the characters. I like that the FMC is flawed. I love I think Des is a cool character because you never really get to know him in this first book. Like I like the book, but that just like would not leave my brain the entire time I was reading it this time, which is too bad. So maybe I do need to read the rest of the series so I can maybe I can come to peace with it. I don't know.
That's totally fair, right? Like you're not, like you said, you're not really given a lot of information. I kind of think period in the whole first book. Like it really is like you learn mostly about Callie. But then it's kind of like the whole plot and world gets flipped on its head, because I feel like this book, it's almost as if you're reading two different genres in two different halves. Like in the first half.
Kind of, yeah.
It kind of feels like pretty much until they go to the other world, or sorry, pretty much until she gets taken to the other world. Because they go a couple times before and then she actually gets kidnapped, right? So in that first bit of the book, I felt like it read almost like a thriller, like a dark romance with like a hint of like murder mystery vibes. Because you're kind of like, she's a private investigator or a bounty hunter. Like he's kind of requesting her service, but also they're kind of falling in love with each other. So there's that. And then she gets kidnapped. And then it turns into like a really kind of bizarre fantasy land. Like it just kind of goes from like, there's supernatural beings and stuff, and we're learning a little bit about that, but then it's like we're just in the Fae underworld and she's writing like a fantasy. And it kind of just took a weird genre turn.
Yeah. And I think the first time I read it and they're like, you know, they open this door and there's like these rows and rows and rows of women in coffins, in glass coffins. And you're like, what the fuck? Like,
like a supernatural murder mystery. Literally, that's what I thought we were
what
reading.
is happening? But no murders.
No. like a
just
thriller, though.
Comatose
like
warriors. Yeah, total thriller vibes. Like it's a cool book, and I really liked it. So yeah, I don't know, that was my ick that I could not get over.
So fair. Yeah, I'd be really curious to know, what would you change about the book?
I don't know, because the thing is, like you can't have the same story. Like, I'm contradicting myself, but like you can't have the same story if you don't have the like she kills her stepfather and goes to school and like all of that. Like you need that. That's part of the plot and it's pretty important. So like even though it like freaks me out a little bit, like I don't know if you change that at all. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. And I'm really not sure what the point of Eli is, like her werewolf fiance that she breaks up with, and like he destroys her home and he's, you know, putting them on a wanted list and like all of this stuff. I really don't know what the point of him is. Like maybe he comes back later again, like, and is more in some of the other books, but he seems like a weird, like, why are you here? You know?
So he doesn't. So actually this is kind of what I wanted to talk about in terms of change, because the whole rest of the series pretty much takes place in the other world, and you basically completely forget planet Earth. So realistically, like, she probably could have cut him out completely. He didn't matter in the story. It didn't necessarily develop her character in any way, shape, or form. Like, it wasn't a big moment of character development, I don't think, really. Other than, like, her maybe sticking up for herself and being...
Nutmeg.
It's okay. We were talking about a werewolf, so of course she's like, you called?
Yeah, she's like, let me in.
Let me at him. Yeah, so, like, maybe it's like her... We get to see her kind of, like, not necessarily stick up for herself, but like stand her ground a little bit. Maybe that's kind of it, but I feel like there was a better way to do that. For me, the thing that I would change is the way that the genre flipped happened in terms of like writing style. Like either that just needed to be breadcrumbed way more, or like we just needed to go to the other world immediately and like learn more about the other world immediately. Or maybe Callie and Des go to the other world when she's younger, or like it just like it felt so like she was writing one book and then it was like, you know what, actually we're gonna write this book. And instead of it being like maybe just a whole other book series in general, somehow her editor was like, let's just put it all together, people won't care. Yeah. But really it's fucking confusing, and I'm genuinely like, I was just recall reading it and it's like the moment she gets kidnapped you're like, what? Okay, so she's held captive by fairies that are part animal, part fairy. She's with the warriors. She's getting like magically date rape drugged. Like, what? Like, just it's a little bizarre. Because that's kind of what he's doing, is he's basically like breathing magic into her so that she'll be submissive, which is bleh in itself. But I don't know. That's what I would change. I would have like either write a thriller book where you're supernaturals and maybe there's fae and there's kind of tell that story, but then it's like it felt like the planet Earth stuff didn't necessarily need to happen in order for the rest of the story to happen. Or if it did, it just happened in a really weird way. You know?
Yeah, it's almost like you could cut from like the like school to like, well, no, because this is what actually happens. Because I was gonna say you could cut from like school to when Des shows up again, but that's really what happens. And I guess you're dropped into Callie's life where it is. So, I mean, now I'm starting to rationalize it a little bit. Like, so you're dropped into Callie's life. She's engaged. This guy shows up from her past. She's like, oh, I'm going to have to go do some heinous shit, so I got to break up with this guy. You can't just, like, write an alpha werewolf out of the story. Like, he's got to go a little crazy. So, I guess it does make sense. I don't know. But it does. Yeah. You're right. Like, it feels like two different books. You're right.
Yeah. It's weird. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I just think it could have been breadcrumbed better so that it made more sense. Like, I kind of wish we had a bit more. Like, he glosses over, like, there's about half a page or to a page of basically, like, lore and world building of the other world. It's like, this is our mother and father, and these are the kingdoms, and they're ruled by these people, and this is their powers. Okay, bye. And that's, like, it. That's all we hear about it. And then all of a sudden it turns out the sort of big bad guy in this book is the king of another kingdom in the other world, and you're like, what? Like, okay. It felt like such a big leap. Like, there was just no real breadcrumbing to kind of lead you to maybe even suspect that. Yeah. Like, she has, like, one bad dream where they're like, I saw a man with antlers. And he kind of says, like, she tells Des this, and he's like, oh, that's helpful. Like, that's kind of literally his
Yeah.
response. And you're like,
right?
okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Please
I'm
go
going to
on.
read the rest of the series to make a better judgment, right? Because
like,
I've only read
reads.
the one. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Super easy.
Yeah, I think it
read.
took me a couple days. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, really not a hard read at all. And you know what? Like, I did read the whole series, and I think I really enjoyed, there's a novella in the series. There's 4 books altogether, so there's 3 full books, and then the other one's a bit shorter. The novella is from his perspective, which is Desmond's perspective, which I actually really loved, because that's kind of where you learn that he discovered, like, oh, I knew we were mates before, his whole story. It turns out that, like, he ended up getting the kingdom from his dad, who was actually a dog. Shocker. Like, not a literal dog, but just, like, a piece of shit. Who had, like, a harem of women, and his mom happened to escape, basically, is how it happened. And you kind of learn he used to be part of a gang. We learn a little bit about that in the first book. You get to see some of that more in books 2 and 3 and 4. And then you actually get to go see some of the other kingdoms in the book and meet more fae. So it really turns into a story about fae and really not about any of the other supernatural stuff we learn about in book 1.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which is cool. Like, I did actually like the series. It's just, I think this first book is a bit of like, what the fuck? And then it kind of flows into the story.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to read the rest of it because, like I said, I enjoyed it. Like, it was an easy read. It was fun. Like, but there were a couple of what the fuck moments, but that's okay. It's
fine. I do. You do get to learn more about Temperance, her best friend, Temper, and she makes more of appearances in the other 2 books as well. So, cool. And their banter, their friendship is great. So I do recommend. At least try if you're not able to kind of like get through the trauma of this book, because it is quite trauma heavy. Like, respect, don't push yourself, because there's like some heavy shit. But I will say there is a bit more of a payoff as you go along.
That's good. Yeah, that's really good. And it is like that is the thing. Like, it deals with some heavy shit. Like, really heavy themes. Like, it opens with deep trauma, right? Like her stepfather has been essaying her, and that's why she kills him. Like there's some real deep traumatic themes. So just read the trigger warnings, all of that.
I do kind of wonder, like, devil's advocate wise, from a writing perspective, if that was her way of trying to almost desensitize the readers for what was coming later in the book. Because we also learned that at school she has a professor who tried to touch her and had been, like, essentially touching there's just a lot of trauma in this book, but it essentially been touching other students. And then Des deals with him, and he, like, basically, like, banishes him from planet Earth on her behalf. Yeah. But I do kind of wonder if that was Laura Thalassa's way of desensitizing the readers, so that when we do get to the part where basically, like, we're learning this guy is impregnating women against their will, like, it's fucked. I'm not saying it's good, but I do wonder if that's, like, her way of just being like, hey, maybe. Foreshadowing, listen to me.
Yeah, you know what? That's a really good point, actually. And it's kind of brilliant to do it that way, because you're, like, shocked when it opens, right? You're like, oh, God. Okay, we're just jumping right in. All right.
Yeah. Immediate bloodbath. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that thought. I never actually thought of that before. So that's, like, a new, I was like, I wonder. Would you, like, recommend it? I mean, you're talking about possibly reading the other book, so I'm curious, would you actually suggest this, or would you kind of, like, take a note of caution to who you suggest it to? Or
I would definitely be cautious as to who I suggested it to, right? For sure. But yeah, I think I would, like, and maybe I'll come back after I've read a couple more of them and say, yay or nay. But I think I would, because it's a fun read. It's an easy fun. We just talked about how deeply traumatic it is.
You know what?
A beach read,
Yeah, it's taken on your vacay. Oh, God. No, you know what?
But
it is kind of
it's
fun.
Easy. Yeah.
Like, there are parts of it where it's fun because you're like, I love murder mysteries, so there is kind of that vibe for a while where you're like, this is gonna be a thriller, and then it's like, surprise, it's actually a really dark fantasy. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah, very true. But I would, you know, if somebody came up to me and said, hey, I'm thinking about reading this book, have you read it? I'd say, yeah, it was a 4-star read.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, what did you rate it? And you're rating it 4 stars.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's good. It's well written. It's, you know, it's got some interesting and weird shit, you know, like vampire babies that talk. You know, it's creative.
You forget that, like, they talk as one unit, too. Like, the vampire babies don't have their own separate voices, you guys. They literally talk, like, in one unit, like, as a choir. Yeah. Like, they say, like, they recite lines, like, they're, like, oh my god, it's like, you read it and you're like, oh my god.
What they sound like in my head? They sound like Smeagol from Lord of the Rings. Like, my precious. But think about it.
Oh my god, Andy Serkis, if you ever hear that, that's the best ever.
Like, could you not see that? Like, it talks about them hissing a little bit. Like, come on.
I'm trying to think. I just get the whole, like, one of us vibes from them. Like, it feels like a cult. And I don't even know, you guys. It's, yeah.
Cult babies. It's vampire cultish, babies that talk.
Basically. Anyways. I'm glad that you still rated it 4 stars, because I almost would rate it. You know what? Like, there was a part of me that wanted to rate it like 3 stars. I'm not going to lie to you. And I think I wanted to rate it 3 stars because it felt like 2 different books at a time, but also, like, it has such heavy themes. But I think if I'm looking at it from the perspective of the whole story, because I've read all of them, I would rate it a 4, because there is some payoff for the suffering we go through in book 1. There is some payoff. So, you know, I do want to say, neither of us prepared a spicy 69, but how did you feel about the spice in this book? Because they do eventually, when they discover that they're mates, they actually do. And Callie's in her 20s at this point, by the way, folks.
Yes.
She's no longer a kid. It's 7 years later, so she's like 24. They do eventually have sex and connect. What are your thoughts on the spicy 69 of that scene?
You know,
like, do you have...
I thought that was, like, I thought it was good. Like, it was, you know, like, well worth it. Like, Des would not be on my book boyfriend list. Like, not in a million years. He's got light hair.
You know who I think of?
Who?
When I read about, so Desmond Flynn has white hair, I literally imagine, like, the Liam Hemsworth version of Witcher, which is like Temu Henry Cavill from Witcher. That's what I envision when I think of Desmond Flynn. But also kind of mixed with, like, Spike from Buffy, but without the creepy, rapey vibes that, like, Spike gives off eventually. It's like that.
Yeah, I would say I would picture him more like Spike from Buffy. But yeah, like, because she talks about him being, like, lean. Like, so I picture him kind of like tall wiry and skinny with white hair. Like,
yeah. And he wears a lot of, like, metal band t-shirts. Like, he wears Metallica and Iron Maiden. And he's like, I think he's English, because he takes her to a school on the Isle of Man, which is in England, or in the UK, basically. So I just envision him as English, which is why I think of Spike. But it just made me, like, in terms of, like, hair, wig, outfit, I just envision, like, Temu Witcher.
I love that so much. And, like, yeah, like, give me an MMC that is, like, big and muscly and
7 feet tall.
He has tattoos, so that's good. But, like, yeah,
fair. And you know what? You do get more spice as the book goes on, like, as the second book and third book happen.
Okay, yeah.
So, in terms of, like, overall spice, it was good. I would give it, like, 3.5 tequila shots out of 5.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'd give it that many. I'd maybe give it, like, 3.
Okay,
max.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Valid. I accept. Okay. And now for the Callie special. How did we feel about that?
I actually thought it was perfect because, yeah, like we didn't really talk about this, but Callie has a bit of a drinking problem. And at one point, Des, like, takes away her ability to drink.
As payment.
As payment for one of the favors that she owes him. And she likes whiskey and she drinks whiskey. And so I think this was perfect. Like, we could have gone with, like, just a shot of whiskey, but ew. I really enjoyed the chaser.
At some point, she does end up drinking, like, some kind of, like, soda or flavored water or something. Like, that's what he gives her in lieu of alcohol. So I was like, we need to have something harsh followed by something tame. And I was like, this sounds good.
Yeah, totally. And they worked really, really well together. So I think if you put the whiskey in there, it would be really good. Yeah. Be a great drink.
Yeah. It's funny. Do you think this book should get more hype? Like, I don't know if it has a lot of hype, truthfully. Like, I read this because one of my friends recommended it to me. Like, you think it's like, it's kind of sitting where it needs to sit?
Yeah, like I wouldn't hype this one up just because of the themes. Like, because you got to be so careful, right? And you never know who is going to be affected by it in a very deep way. So I probably wouldn't give it all the hype, you know? But I have seen it. Like, I've seen it in my travels on the World Wide Web. So I think it's probably sitting pretty. I think. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like, you don't see it on a lot of recommended lists. I think and that's likely because of the themes. I think you're absolutely right. I think, see, obviously, like, it's hard because I've read the other books. I do think it ends well, and I do think as she goes on, I think she kind of finds her stride in her writing, and this book didn't really feel like she knew where she was going with it, and then it kind of develops into, no, I know exactly the story that I want to tell, which I appreciated. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's kind of sitting, like, kind of like lower middle of the pack, and that's okay. Like, it's a good, if you're just dipping your toes into fantasy and kind of getting into more taboo subject matter, and you're kind of wanting to see if that's something that you're into, or if it's something that, like, you can handle, even, this might be an okay option to try because it's such an easy read. But obviously, like, read the trigger warnings because there's a lot of essay and really adult themes in this book, even though it is such an easy read, would be my advice.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah. And I would recommend to read the other books, period. Like, I just think this book does not really tell the full story at all. And it is a clusterfuck. Yeah.
But yeah, and I've read other things by Laura Thalassa, but I can't remember what they are, but I know I like her as an author.
It's The Four Horsemen is her other, like,
I've read Pestilence. Yeah, yes. I've read Pestilence. Yeah.
Yeah, so those books are hers, the Four Horsemen books.
I like that one.
I haven't read those. I have not read those. So
I haven't read the whole series, but I read Pestilence and I really liked it. So
yeah, she's not a bad writer. I think that's it. No. Might seem confusing. Like, we're talking about her as if, like, oh my god, how could she write these themes? But, like, there's lots of other male authors out there that I'm sure people wouldn't even shake their head at writing about these themes. So we're not slandering her as a writer. I think there's just some things that we would change. That's all. All right. Well, with that, is there anything else you would like to add as we close up this episode of Pages and Potions?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, if you're feeling like you want to tackle a maybe thriller / dark romance / heavy topic romantic fantasy novel, this might be the book for you. I'm selling it really hard here. If you end up deciding to shoot some whiskey and try our little mocktail, let us know. I love this. I'm going to keep drinking this because it's delightful. Or if you end up reading Rhapsodic and you just want to talk to somebody about this, obviously we recommend talking to professionals who know how to deal with the heavy topics, but also like if you just want some conversation about this, we've read it, we're here, our DMs are open, we're super curious about your thoughts. Maybe we were like way off base, or maybe you totally agree with what we had to say. Let's hear it. Find us on our Instagram or TikTok at Pages and Potions Podcast, and just let us know what you think. On the next episode, we're going to be discussing The Ever King by L.J. Andrews, and this book is Courtney's husband's favorite book of all time, or just favorite fantasy?
I think favorite fantasy, like favorite, okay. Yeah, of the last few years, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. No pressure. No pressure. We started it, so I'm excited to read it. He and I have very different book opinions, although we tend to like the same books.
Yes.
We tend to like them, but like them for very different reasons and hate very different parts of the book. So,
yeah.
Interesting. I'm curious to see how that will go. And we'll see what cocktail inspiration comes to me next week or next time when we discuss the book. So if you have any ideas for inspiration, let me know. Until then, friends, stay spicy, keep spilling the tea, and thank you so much for joining us again. Cheers.
Cheers.
Have a wonderful night or day. Take care.